And it just depends on what are you willing to do and how deep do you want to go. But those on-ramps are there. And you shouldn't have to pay too much. Most people think that it's too expensive or too time consuming. But you can do it in bite-sized pieces and you can do it without cost.
Hi, what's going on, everybody? My guest today is an executive with over 25 years of experience. She has served as strategic advisors for philanthropies, nonprofit organizations, and corporations. Everyone, please join me in welcoming Vice President for Global Education and Workforce Development at IBM, Miss Lydia Logan. Lydia, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be here with you.
Listen, the pleasure is all ours. Welcome to STEMedia. STEMedia, we're all about elevating and empowering underrepresented, underestimated STEM success. And I think that is something that IBM has been doing for decades.
We have been, so I know I'm in the right place.
Absolutely in the right place. Absolutely in the right place. Thank you again for coming on. Now, if you can, just kick things off. We like to start things with some icebreaker. If you can, give us a random fun fact. We're going to get into the technical work. We're going to get into your career. But as someone hears your title, they hear your accolades, what is something somebody wouldn't expect to know?
Maybe they wouldn't expect to know I'm a big Prince fan and I danced on stage with Prince.
What?
Yes.
There's probably like a small handful of people in the entire world that could ever say that. Like he called you out of the audience?
He called me out of the audience. He said, if you're going to dance like that down there, come do that up here. So I ran up on the stage and I danced for a few songs.
Listen, is it on YouTube? Because we might have to look this up. We might have to.
Well, now I'm telling my age. It was before YouTube was ubiquitous and before camera phones. So all my friends were screaming in the audience when it happened, but nobody has a picture.
It's definitely an if moment, huh? It's not one of those things you can track down. But that's a memory.
It was memorable. It was memorable.
You're never going to forget that. You're never going to forget that.
No,
so
I won't.
And you're coming to us from your hometown, in a sense. You're from DC originally.
I am a fifth generation Washingtonian on my father's side, so very deep in the DC area. Yeah. I'm living here, working here. It's the seat of our government and the nation's capital, and I'm very committed to both what we do here and in the area, but also nationally. So I'm a proud Washingtonian.
It's an interesting place in DC. You have administrations change, people move there. They leave. You got the tourists throughout the years. Did you ever leave, or what was it?
Oh, yeah. I went away for college. I went to the University of Pennsylvania, and I loved my time in Philadelphia. I lived in London for a year. I lived in California when I worked at the Broad Foundation for 3 years, but DC is my home.
Got you. There's no place like home.
There's no place like home, and for what people say, DC is chocolate city. We're a little milk chocolate. It may have been dark chocolate when I was growing up, but it's, I will say, as a place for Black professionals to be able to really advance their careers and thrive, there's almost no place like Washington.
Yeah.
Atlanta may have a close second with us.
Got you. No, I love DC. Every time I go, I got people that I know that live in the area. And you know what? I've never really thought of DC, though, as a place where people in the tech industry would abide. And you're working at IBM. Can you tell me a little bit about?
So there's been a long history of tech startups and technology industry here in the Washington area. It doesn't necessarily rival the Bay Area, but absolutely we have a lot going on in Washington. I started out working for a man named Jim Kimsey, who was the founding CEO of America Online, and I worked helping him to get his foundation set up. And he was very interested in economic opportunity and providing access to computers to people who were economically disadvantaged. So I spent a lot of time going around the city and figuring out how we were going to do that. And we put centers east of the river, which was where our low-income communities are concentrated, but the majority of children in Washington live there. So this job for me at IBM is very much of a full circle moment to come back working on technology, economic opportunity, getting people the tech skills that they need. That's really where I started my career, and now I'm back.
I love that because IBM is one of the companies, being a company that partners with a lot of tech giants and a lot of Fortune 500s in the space. IBM has always been a company that I truly am like, they're really about that life. Like it isn't just something that when everybody is on corporate responsibility and everyone's about DEI. Like IBM didn't just jump on the bandwagon. Like you all have been driving for a number of years. Talk a little bit about the history of IBM and what attracted you to work there as it relates to DEI and really taking on some of these challenges.
IBM has always been committed to Black professionals and their success. And I grew
Hmm.
up knowing IBMers back in the day. Really, there were very few corporations that had Black people in public facing roles, client facing roles. And IBM was one of the very few where you could be an engineer or be in a technical role or be a high level sales professional and be client facing and really have a distinguished career. And so IBM has been supporting Black people and Black careers and diversity, women. We had a woman CEO, Jenny Rometty, but investing in diversity and inclusion for a long time. This is not new to us. Our head of research, Dario Gil, is Latino. So this is an investment and a commitment that IBM has made. It didn't start with the murder of George Floyd, as you will see a lot of other companies sort of jumped on the bandwagon. And that's not where we are, which is one reason why it's in our DNA as a company. I was thrilled to come and join the team.
Yeah, listen, you won't say it, but I say they jumped on the bandwagon and a lot of companies have jumped off. So this is no longer cool too. And I just respect IBM's long-standing commitment. In fact, I think it's even documented. If correct me if I'm wrong, that there's letters from leaders at IBM that predate the civil rights movement about
That's right.
advocating for Black people to work there. Is that correct?
That's my understanding. That I've not seen the letters myself, but
Yeah,
that's what I've heard. Yes.
incredible, incredible. Well, y'all, again, I'm just so happy to have Lydia Logan from IBM here with us today. And Lydia, as we look at today, this day and age, obviously there's still a great fight in the area of DEI. But what do you feel like are some of the other major challenges facing the industry today as it relates to all of this?
Absolutely. It's making sure that we are diversifying the technology talent pool. So that's a lot of the work that I do with corporate social responsibility. We are our Skills Build program, which is at skillsbuild.org. So for those of you who are out there and haven't checked it out, I encourage you to go log in, create an account, start learning for free. We have foundational courses in everything from cybersecurity to AI to data analytics. Get an idea of what it is that you may want to learn a variety of topics, and then go deeper. But the ability to explore and go deeper, both for free, is there on Skills Build. We are working at IBM in multiple facets on what we call skills first agenda, because we have to not limit ourselves to degree only candidates for a lot of the jobs that we have. So 50% of our US job postings do not require a 4-year degree. We are college and career, so we are degrees and certificates. We're not one or the other.
Yeah.
But by eliminating the 4-year degree requirement, we have allowed a broader diversity of applicants to really have a chance at working at IBM and starting their careers here or advancing their careers here, coming in from other places. And we really have seen that as a successful strategy, right? You don't necessarily need to have a degree for every job role.
True.
That's been an investment for us. It also means we are training our hiring managers on what does it mean to post a job, elect for a job, because eliminating the degree requirement is just the first step.
Right.
We're working across all facets of the company to really make sure we are providing opportunities. We're putting the IBM brand and quality behind it and making sure that people have a pathway forward.
Yeah. Am I hearing correctly that one of the biggest challenges is that this industry needs more talent, but barriers like a 4-year degree have placed a separation between so many potential employees and then the employers like IBM? Is that pretty much the problem, that removing that?
Yeah, absolutely. You want to find talent anywhere you can find talent, and you don't want the degree to be an artificial barrier. Yeah. So that's one thing, right? Is finding the talent. Yeah. So that skills first approach helps us to find great talent.
Yeah.
In addition to that, there's the digitization of work. So technology is constantly transforming what it looks like to work for people in ways that you can be more efficient and more effective. So people need to be upskilled, they need to be retrained or skilled to get into a job, whether you're a career switcher, whether you're right out of college or coming into a new career path, that transformation is happening all the time. We have new technology coming out. IBM has Watson Assistant. Watson is constantly helping people to do a better job. It's along the same lines as a chat GPT, but it's older, tested, and more secure. So I think there are a lot of things that are constantly testing the technology sector. The talent is one of them, finding great talent, making sure we're keeping up with technological innovation. At IBM, we want to be the catalyst that changes the world, not just respond to others. So it's creating those technology changes and then helping our clients respond to them.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see if I can ask you some drilling down specific questions then, because I am, let's say hypothetically, I am someone, I've had the first phase of my career. I love STEM. I was pretty good at math. I always had a logical brain. I went in one direction, but then like this tech thing began to accelerate and that was attracting my attention. And I want to make a career switch. But I don't have time to really like taste everything. I really just want to know like maybe where are some of the best places to go that may have a future. Are you able to maybe throw out, I don't know, maybe some entry jobs or entry skills or program things or anything that could probably give me like a clear path to the future as I now look to get into tech as an existing.
Sure. There are a variety of on ramps. So, one of them would be back to Skills Build. It's free. So, there's not a huge investment other than your time on the front end.
And is that like a university platform? Just so people know, is that not
It's free
university,
and
but like a online school basically?
it's online. It's an IBM platform and it's free and available to the public. We offer it to high school students and teachers, university students and professors, and then adult learners.
Free.
Two ways to get in there. One of them is just as an individual, go sign up. We have two versions of a front end assessment you can take. They're sort of personality based and might guide you a little bit towards what may be a good fit for you. So one is 15 minutes and one is 30 minutes. Obviously, the longer one's a little bit more in depth. If you are a partner of ours, we're not a B2C company, right? So we don't do our partnerships around economic opportunity and technology training for free in a B2C way at scale. We have partners. Those partners may be school districts, universities around the world, government training agencies, private training companies. We have priority populations we focus on. So economically disadvantaged people, underrepresented minorities in tech, women, veterans, refugees, and neurodivergent people. We want to make sure that they have access. So we have partners we've selected who are able to work with those communities specifically and support them in ways that they need. They implement the Skills Build program.
I like you said about it can kind of guide you personality based. Would you say that programming or AI, like which of these verticals though, maybe should I consider if I'm someone that's
Yeah, you may want to start with, you may want to look at programming. You could look at JavaScript. You could become a web developer. The entry point would be take some Java classes, learn a little bit about, an entry level web developer job and those skills, and then start building yourself a portfolio, enter some of the online communities that are out there, try it, see if you like. So these are some of the on ramps with the basic skills that you need, and you can build on them as you go along. So we have multiple levels. We also have some more advanced things. So as college students, you're able to download some of the IBM software for free. If you're a college student and you're with a university in our database, really just an accredited university. So we have a lot of opportunities for people who are trying to get into the tech sector or into a technology job in any sector. We know, for instance, in the United States, there are about 700,000 unfilled cybersecurity jobs. There is a massive opportunity in cyber right now. We know that security is a big issue. Every company has people's data today, and they all need cybersecurity people to help protect that data and make sure it's secure.
That's incredible. Can you give me one more though? Because you mentioned cybersecurity. Can you get what's another? Because I feel like you're at a good position where you can see where the demand is, right?
Cybersecurity, web developer, help desk IT support specialist, entry level data analyst. So some of these require some sort of foundational skills already, but some of them don't really. Anybody can learn to code, can learn to create a website, JavaScript and Java are behind what most websites are built on. So if you're looking to make that transition, it's possible, right? And it just depends on what are you willing to do and how deep do you want to go. But those on-ramps are there, and you shouldn't have to pay too much. Most people think that it's too expensive or too time consuming, but you can do it in bite-sized pieces and you can do it without cost.
No, that's fantastic. And then the skills builder, like I'll get a credential that I can then put into my resume or on my
That's right.
application.
That's right.
IBM, because you're not requiring a college degree, but I went
That's
through,
right.
so then I could get a job. So you all pretty much put people on free education, and then hey, you're removing the barriers. That's incredible.
Yeah, I think people are maybe underestimating the value of digital credentials because they are becoming more and more used and more well known. The ecosystem using learner and employment records or digital credentials is evolving very quickly, from people who have them and need to be able to exchange them securely, verifiably. So if I earn it, can I put it on my LinkedIn page? Do people know what it means and what you're able to do once you've earned it? What we have heard a lot, we work with 20 HBCUs. We're helping them to establish cybersecurity leadership centers. A lot of their students are integrating our courses on Skills Build into their degree pathways. So we work with professors to do that. And what students are telling us is when I applied for a summer job, I was put in the first round of applicants because I not only had a good GPA and I was taking relevant courses to the job for which I applied, but I had something no one else had. I had an IBM Skills Build credential that showed I've gone the extra mile and I can demonstrate what I'm able to do. And other students who were applying did not necessarily have those kinds of credentials. So this is where I say it's a both and. It isn't just credentials or just degrees. Often you may want to have both.
You want to get as much as you can to present yourself as a qualified candidate. I love it. I love it. If y'all are listening, you're watching this, hey, you might need to go over to the site, get you a couple of credentials. Whether or not you have a degree under your belt, whether or not you're pursuing one, there's a place for you. There's opportunities for you to learn. I appreciate you, Lydia, for giving us game on that. And you all, I also like the fact that you say you're working with HBCUs, you're working with partners. What are the types of partners you're working? Is it higher ed institutions? Are you working with, who else are you working with?
Sure. So we work with nonprofit organizations. We have a partnership with the Hispanic Heritage Foundation. As I mentioned, we're working closely with 20 HBCUs. We work with other colleges and universities. We work with nonprofits, not just around the country, but around the world. So, for instance, the Specialist Sterna Foundation, which focuses on people who are neurodivergent, they're working to get people employed. The tech sector is a good match for them. They are integrating the Skills Build program and the training that they're providing. So they're helping people to get employed. We have a lot of different kinds of partners. We're partners with an organization called Mom Relaunch, which is focusing on women. So we really are putting our money where our mouth is in terms of focusing on the communities that we're intending to serve and helping them to get the opportunities that we know they can take advantage of.
You're not just saying, hey, we built this, come to us. You're going to where the people are and the organizations.
That's right.
That have the established communities to say, hey, how can we help?
That's right.
I like that. So what you touched on is really this idea of you can't do it alone. You have to, these problems are so massive and no one can just say, oh, my idea is so brilliant. I'm just going to come in. And once I show to everybody, we're going to be the sole provider of this. It's really networking from an organizational standpoint. How is networking important for the individual aspiring professional, the person who sees themselves, right, in a successful career? Talk about a little bit about the networking aspect.
I think it is very important. I'd say join organizations, get mentors, participate in meetups, put your things on your LinkedIn resume. But it absolutely is important because it's often through word of mouth that you learn about things. And some of it is more coaching, it's professional advice that you need. And we do some of that through Skills Build with our partners. And some of it is less formal. So, it can have a range, but absolutely networking is important. And I think the the more that you're able to, whether if you're in college, you're working through a professor, if you're in a job, you're identifying people in your company who may be mentors to you, who can introduce you to other people, who can have those career conversations with you about where it is that you want to go and what are the skills that you have and what may be some of the skills that you lack and where can you go to get them and fill those gaps so you can continue to progress. I think we still are in a world where the system is designed for people going from high school to college to work. And that is not really how it is for most people. They may finish high school and go work for a little while. They may go to college and they may not finish the degree program they started. They should be able to earn some digital credentials while they're in college. And then if they leave, they're leaving with more than just debt. They're leaving with something that says, I learned something, I demonstrated. If they choose to go back and finish their degree, wonderful. But if they don't, they still have something of value in the marketplace that they can use to say, here's what I know and I'm able to do.
Not to mention the relationships.
Yes. So I think the relationships are very important. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So tell me, give me this really quick. All right, I'm an aspiring professional, and here's what happens, right? Because if someone were to be honest with you and they saw you at a conference, they'd say, hey, Lily, how can I get a job at ABM? They don't expect you to say, here, push this button, you got a job. But there is a process, right? If you were to put yourself in the shoes of someone who's looking for a job, a tech job, and you had to make a little checklist, because we talked about a lot already, what would be sort of your Tech 5 checklist of what you're looking for, not just in terms of someone for their resume, but even in the company that they are considering applying for? What would be that?
I think it's important for people to understand there are a few things that make you successful in the workplace beyond just the technical skills that apply to your specific role.
Okay.
So one of them is the other skills we call durable skills or professional skills. In Europe, they call them transversal skills because they cut across everything. Collaboration, communication, those skills that help you to succeed in the workplace, whether or not you know how to code or know any of the other technical pieces, you need to be successful in the workplace. And those skills, including some of the other things like project management and how to run a project, those kinds of things are things that every manager wants from anybody on their team. Do you know how to be a team player, not just a team leader, not just an individual contributor? So I'd say that, right?
Yeah.
So know your technical skills or your job related skills and know how to be those skills that are required for workplace success.
Yeah.
And then I'd say, just like IBM's motto is be the catalyst, are you looking for ways to be a catalyst, to create change where you are, to do better, to find ways with the resources at your disposal that you are improving what's happening around you? And are you either taking that to your manager? Or, those are things every hiring manager is looking for. They don't just want to look on your resume and see the title of the job that you had and your roles and responsibilities. They want to see what you did with it. So can you say, this was my job, and as a result, I accomplished these 3 things? So I would encourage people to start thinking in terms of results, not just time spent.
Yeah. No, that's important. And does that translate also, again, if you're trying to make your way up the corporate ladder, so to speak, even once you already get the job? Like,
always, right?
Yeah.
Show your value. What are you adding? Right? Your durable skills, your technical skills, your value to the team, and your leadership, your ability to help bring other people along with you. And can you demonstrate that?
I love it. That was an incredible answer, by the way. I'm going to go back and write all of those things down because as an engineer's my background, as someone who wants to continue to advance these causes, not just myself personally, but everyone that's in STEMedia's community, right? I think those are valuable pieces of advice.
I'm going to try to tell it quickly. I'm going to tell a quick story about this. And this is one of my favorite stories. It's not mine. But there are 3 people who are laying bricks, right? And they are building, they're masons. And someone walks up to the first one and says, what are you doing? And he says, I'm laying bricks. And they walked to the second one and said, what are you doing? And he says, I'm building a wall. And they walked up to the third person. They said, what are you doing? And she says, I'm building a cathedral. Now they're all doing the same thing, and they all have the same skill set, but their vision for what they're doing is much bigger.
Yeah.
When you're doing your job, think bigger than just what is the job I'm doing, but what am I building? How am I part of something bigger? How am I part of this company? How can I help this company be part of something bigger?
Man, I wish I had sound effects right now. I'll be dropping bombs, flames. That was good. Man. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, shout out to whoever originated that story. But I never heard it before, and I've heard a lot of different stories, but that was really good. That was a really good anecdote. So thank you for sharing that. And Lydia, this has been great as we come towards the last portion of our conversation. I feel like the time is just going by. I want to ask you a few things just as it relates to just your own personal development. Like, people can look at you and say, I want to do technical things for a while. I want to be in the workforce, but then I want to eventually get to a position where I am able to help direct and lead a charge and bringing other people along. What would you say have been some of the resources, whether they're books or tools or whatever, that have really helped you as a VP develop yourself?
I'd say a couple of things. So one is be a lifelong learner and be curious and continue to upskill yourself, even if it's in informal ways. That's number one, I would say, is something that you absolutely have to do. I would say think about your mentors, think about who's around you, who can help you think about what's next for you. And then, I don't know if you're getting the mottos, but I have a favorite one, and it's function in crisis, finish in style.
Ooh.
When things are tough, when the challenge is hard, you have to take a moment and say, okay, we are not going to panic. We're going to pull together and we're going to figure out how we're going to get through this. And you get a plan together. And then when you're on the other side, you can breathe, but you can say, we did it. We did it as a team. We figured out a way through. There's always a way through.
I can only imagine how many people are benefiting from not just your words, but the decisions you're making, the leadership that you're providing, people on your team who are now going on to help activate some of these partnerships, activate these initiatives. Are there any initiatives on the horizon, or what do you want us to keep an eye out for? Because again, IBM you all drive. You all not just
we are driving. We are constantly driving.
Yeah. So what can we look
a lot of what we are doing with Skills Builder, we are constantly adding courses and content. We work again with universities around the world. We're helping their professors either redesign courses or implement new courses. We're helping students get exposure to IBM's talent and technology. So we have a lot of offerings in the university space, and we have more in the technical training space. I'd say keep an eye. I post a lot of it on LinkedIn. We have some IBM blogs that we post, and happy to share some of those links with you to share out with your audience to stay tuned. We always have something new. We've got some things coming out later in the year, but can't tell you quite yet, but stay tuned.
All right. Hey, listen, you all stay tuned. You already know what they're going to come out with. It's going to be for our good. It's going to be for our benefit, and ultimately for the benefit of the world, unlocking that human potential that we still, unfortunately, have lying dormant in many places and in many pockets.
Yeah, we're doing what we're doing because it's good for individuals, it's good for society, and it's good for business. And I think that's a magic winning formula.
I love it. Well, if you don't mind, as we get ready to close, give us maybe, I guess, where we should go. Skills Builder, you got the URL, but there's any other call to action you have. And then, after that, give us some parting words of wisdom, whether it's quote, words of advice from one of your mentors, or anything like that.
So it's skillsbuild.org, skillsbuild.org, skillsbuild.org. Please go check it out and take our assessment. I think might find something interesting about yourself. I know I did. Words of advice, I'll give you a sort of a mashup.
Okay.
My mother's a physician. She's someone who always has a 1-year plan and a 5-year plan. And every year she revises her 1-year plan and her 5-year plan based on what's happened in the last year and what she sees coming up. And she's always said to me, you got to have your plans. You got to have your plans. Mine are more up here and a little bit in outline form. Hers are more formal.
Yeah.
But it helps you really focus where you are going and where you think you see yourself in a few years. So I say to people, anytime you go into a job, Think about, what is it that I'm bringing to the job? What is it that I want to learn while I'm here? And what is it that I want to take with me when I leave so I can go to the next place doing something new and seeking something better, different, higher, more advanced? Because you should be contributing and you should be learning. It should be a two-way street. Having a job is like a relationship.
With mutual.
That's right. So I'd say that's right. That's the advice. And then don't be afraid to ask for what you want. You're not always going to get it. But I have a friend who says, closed mouths don't get fed. That's what she always says. So if you want a promotion, you've worked for it, ask for it. If you're interested in a stretch assignment, ask for it. If you think, you're ready for something else, ask for it. And if the answer is no, say, what can I do to be better prepared for this when an opportunity like this comes up again? I'd say a lot of the success that I've had is because I've been willing to ask. A lot of people never make the ask.
Yeah.
Especially women. And sometimes, minorities. But ask. Be prepared and ask, right? Success is preparation meeting opportunity. Be prepared.
There you have it, family. From Lydia Logan, the VP of Global Education and Workforce Development at IBM. I love how you gave us some very clear corporate information, but then like personal information. This is a great interview. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I think that
Thank you for having me.
From watching this, people are going to have a lot of opportunity, a lot of insight to advance their careers. Of course, we're going to go to skillsbuild.com. And I'm going to check it out as soon as we hop off of here, to be honest with you. But thank you so much for your time, Lydia. I definitely support all the work you're doing. IBM is among my highest regards when it comes to corporations that are really doing it the right way, that are about this life. So thank you for being about this life.
Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to staying in touch with the STEM media community.